Well, guys, how's it going today? Uh, the scenarios that I had planned for today, none of them seemed to work out very well. Thus, I had a losing day for trading today. Not too bad, but it was a losing day. My initial assumption was we were going to come down and retest the highs of Friday and then bounce up. And at this point here, I started loading up on the Boeing because the industrials were breaking out. Well, Boeing just faded from there on throughout the day, so that was a losing trade on my part. And so my next scenario was that we were going to do scenario two and go all the way down to near the lows of Friday, and thus I thought we'd get some. I was looking at the Tesla chart, and I thought we were going to get some responsive selling in Tesla at that point based on the charting, and that didn't work out. So those were two big hits from my part. And then I also traded Apple a couple times, and that didn't work out either. But we ended up closing right here in the middle, um, and that didn't fall within either one of the scenarios that we had planned for the morning. Okay, some quick index charts I'm going over. SPY, first of all, we came up to this downward trend line, and when I take out the overnight session, this trend line is more valid. But we came right up to this line, and it got rejected all day long into the afternoon, and we were even putting value in at lower prices into the afternoon into the SPY. And if you zoom in here, this was it was heavily weighted to the downside, heavier weighted to the downside for today. Tomorrow might be a different story, but there was nobody willing to step up big time into the overnight session. Diamonds, I want to point out we had some relative strength in the last week during the sell-off on our diamonds, and that was our Apples and our Boeing. They were just supporting our Dow real well. Well, today that was kind of the opposite situation here. We had most of today's value building out on the lower end of the Dow. So just keep that in mind. So a little bit of rotation out of the Dow today and into some technology. Okay, our technology, if you notice, it's more weighted to the highs of the day, and in the overnight session, we seem to be breaking above those highs. So we are getting some response, a little bit of short squeeze happening in our technology sector. And that is the area that has gotten hit the hardest with this recent sell-off in the markets. So just keep that in mind. Going into tomorrow, we might start seeing an outperformance in our technology area and maybe even our FANG stocks. Okay, and let me show you another. Okay, I do not want to say that we're out of the woods by any means whatsoever on our NDX, and this is our NASDAQ 100 because we came down, we opened higher today, but we are still just holding this trend line. So yeah, we saw a little bit of strength in the Nasdaq today, but the NDX is actually trending away from our prior primary trend. So there's a lot of risk in the technology stocks. Okay. Finally, our Russell. Now this was in tandem with the Nasdaq. It came down last week. And if you notice, we kind of had a bell curve weighted to the upside on our NASDAQ. Well, the bell curve is just pretty much neutral on our IWM. So just keep that in mind here. The relative strength just not quite there. We're just hanging out below this downtrend situation that we've been building out for a while now. So there's really no big tells that the markets are wanting to go higher yet. Okay, a quick look at the profile on Apple. We have what you call a little B formation. Basically, immediately out of the gate, value was rejected and built out at lower price levels. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We did recover off the bottom a little bit, and we found buyers and sellers were willing to meet around the 218.50 area today. But that is a lower developing value area than what we had last week. So Apple could very well be trending to the downside. Okay, Apple today came back down to the 50% fib fan, gave up 50% of the gains from the earnings gap. So the earnings gap open. So just keep this one on your radar here. I mean, this could be a responsive bounce point, of course, but once it broke the 221.90 area, it became very dangerous to hold Apple because this whole uptrend since the earnings is in jeopardy, is in serious jeopardy right here. Oh, also, they got the new iPhone announcement coming out Wednesday. So there's a very good chance we could see some responsive buying into Apple tomorrow. But we'll see what actually happens. But that gives you an idea. My charting right here gives you an idea why Apple bounced where it did today. Now, Boeing was a different beast today. I mean, it just could not catch a bid whatsoever. This is my daily chart, and it opened and it just faded for the most part all day long. And it closed on the lows of the day. So, and we are crossing out of the primary uptrend, and we close on the lows of the day. And what I want to point out here, you see the volume distribution on this right here. All the volume is getting accepted at the very low end of today's range, and that was after we're breaking critical support. I see extreme risk to Boeing this week that it's going to break down a whole lot more before the end of the week. So just keep that in mind. For you perma longs, you know, when you see Boeing doing stuff like this, you got to be very concerned that the long scenario is not in the cards. Another stock to be concerned with, and that is Amazon here. We closed on a 3-day low. So that's something to be worried, a little bit concerned coming into the next day that Amazon may have a continuation down lower, and it's very, very good chance that it's going to happen. And if you go with your volume profile, all the volume today was accepted down at these lower levels. You know, that's not a good sign for a bullish scenario going into the next trading day. So, you know, this could all change, but I'm just saying that it looks like buyers, typically you want a bell curve, you know, finding equilibrium in the middle, somewhat in the middle. If you're not finding that equilibrium in the middle, that means the auction is looking for lower prices. Tesla was a beast today. I shorted early in the morning, made a little bit of money on it, and I tried again in the afternoon, and I closed for a slight profit again on the short side. It was really not coming up on the option screener much at all today. It was just a slow grind upward on this stock, and it just a lot of short covering was happening on the Tesla trade. So that's just my opinion, and we had a short squeeze. The options weren't really that active, and we found an equilibrium right in the middle of the day, and we continued even higher into the close. So good chance that Tesla's a beast of its own, but there's a good chance Tesla's going to seek out higher prices this week. Now, here's what I'm looking at on my Tesla trends. Typically, you got in this area right through here. That was a responsive buy zone for Tesla. And we just finally, as of today, got back into that zone, which was historically a buy zone in the past. Okay? And we got over our resistance areas down here in the bottom. That's why I'm saying there could be a lot of continuation in Tesla to the upside here. But what I was seeing on the internals and stuff like that, I have grave concern that Tesla can hold up here. And that's why I personally am not going to be chasing Tesla from here to the upside. Another one very active on the call side today, and that was Alibaba. And this is just absolutely one that I do not like. I do not think the bottom's in one bit. And if you go out in the longer time frames here, I think the bottom potential is 147 area before you consider even thinking about taking it to the long side. So I think there was quite a bit of call activity today, and I do feel that a lot of those people were going to take it on the chin this week. One of the stocks marching at its own beat here, and that's Broadcom, and that is one of the Apple suppliers, and it had its earnings last Thursday, and this is the third day. No, yeah, Thursday. Yeah, no, Friday. Yeah, so it was Thursday night. So this is the second day of continuation to the upside, and this thing here just seems to have some legs right now. So those earnings were very solid, and continuation up to the 247 is quite likely, in my opinion. That's just this week. Another stock that I'm following, and that is one of Netflix's new rivals. That's Roku. And I think this thing is going to over $100 on Roku here in the not so distant future. We're breaking out to all-time highs, and this continues to just chug to the upside. And the moves are really nice moves, but we're still not in any type of parabolic type upside momentum yet. So, but yeah, I think we're probably going to see a lot more upside even this week on Roku. I got alerted to the Micron calls again today, and I am simply not a believer in the trade. I see more downside coming. Facebook is another one. I see more downside coming. I see the 152 area will be the next support zone, 152, 151 area. Actually, the 149 is actually more what I'm looking at here. So just keep that in mind. I see quite a bit of weakness in the social stocks still to come and hit the market. I had mentioned in my weekend video how Texas Instrument had broken the primary uptrend line, and today we didn't really fall out of favor. It's still holding support, but still quite weak, and I see Texas Instruments here probably, quite frankly, maybe even this week down to $99. So yeah, be careful if you think this market's going to go to the moon. And I just don't see it happening this week. I see a lot more downside risk than I do upside risk. So that pretty much sums up what I'm saying. Oh, and I'm going to talk about Google real quick. It's here. From the recent lows, Google hasn't even trended back to the support line yet. And it might do that over time sideways, but I am a firm believer that Google's probably going to come down here to the 150 or 1150 area before it gets some responsive buying. So that's another one that's showing, even though we were getting on the profile, the NDX profile, we were showing a little bit of a or a short squeeze. This is one of the reasons between the Facebook and Twitter and Google and possibly even Netflix, I'm thinking that the downside is actually more likely probability than the upside, in my opinion. Well, that's all I got to say, and I hope what I'm saying actually pans out the way I'm saying it's going to pan out. But good luck trading, and please leave comments at the bottom and like it if you like it and stuff like that. Thanks a lot for your time.